I know what you're all thinking. How could this have ever been in the closet? All of this in the closet, how? Because look at me, I'm like gay from space, right? Like, there's no hiding it now. Woohoo! She's out and proud, people. But this took a long time. It took a really long time. I was very, very deep in the closet, like in the back, under a hat box, splitting a bag of Reese's Pieces with E.T. If I'd gone any further, I could have felt the snows of Narnia.
Hey, I'm Shawn Hollenbach, and welcome to Closet Cases, the show where LGBTQ comedians and performers tell their coming out and transitioning stories live on stage and then go deeper into a podcast. Today we have Brandy Rowell, who's a delight and is a staple in the West Village comedy scene, so just take a listen.
I grew up in the South with Catholic Republican parents, and I knew there was something different about me, but I didn't know what it was. Because in the 70s and the 80s, there wasn't a lot of, positive gay visibility. There wasn't any, GLAAD awards or anything like... The best we had was, Three's Company. And Jack Tripper was playing it for laughs because he wanted to live with two hot girls, and it was a joke. And then, what did the lesbians have? Cagney and Lacey? What are we supposed to, stretch our imagination to just think about them holding their guns? I don't know. So I really didn't realize that there were actual gay people, that they weren't a punchline to a joke or whatever, until I went to college, really. And thank God, because university equals diversity.
Brandy, welcome to Closet Cases. I'm so excited you're here. How's it going?
Oh my God, Shawn, I'm so happy to be here.
Oh my gosh, you were spectacular at Stonewall.
You're too nice.
You're so funny.
Stop.
So it was a nice crew there. And also it was a lot of our friends performed too that night.
Oh my God, the show was fantastic. What a great way to open up the series again. It was off the chain. The audience was crazy. We were crazy. And the love in the room and the tears and the laughter. Oh my God, it was too much.
I know. The perfect amount of heart and happiness all together. In your set, I love you talked about not having a lot of representation in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that if Ellen was out at the time, do you think you would have come out sooner?
Maybe. It was really hard for me to go so many layers and so much therapy. But I feel if there had been a more out person, everyone knew Martina Navratilova was, on our team, but nobody was talking about it. And so if someone had come forward and said, yes, I'm a gay woman, this is my life, this is what I do, I think maybe I would have come out sooner, but there was literally nothing growing up, nothing.
I know. You're right. Cagney and Lacey was probably that archetype.
Yeah.
But there was no romance.
Shirley.
Laverne and Shirley?
I actually had a childhood friend whose dad would not let her watch Laverne and Shirley because he felt it was a little too, I don't know, boo-boo kitty. I don't know what's going on down in the basement. Seriously. Laverne and Shirley.
The Sam and Diane of the 70s.
Exactly.
Will they or won't they? Who knows?
Oh, please do it.
Yeah, I know. Same with, it was that gay was sort of a punchline at those times.
It was a joke or a lie.
But then where did you go to college?
I went to school in Charlotte, North Carolina.
So I didn't
go very far, but yeah. And that's when I first met the gay people.
Oh my.
Actual gay people that were hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm gay. And I was wow, okay, that's a thing. That's a real thing.
Was that a breath of fresh air? Did you sort of see yourself in those people?
It was shocking because, of course, I was an English theater major and, hello, gay. And it was just and they were so and you're at college and you're away from your family and you have a little leg room to stretch them and try new things or to meet new people. And but at first it was very sort of it was jarring that they were so free. And I was oh my God, I think I might have found my people. You know what I mean?
Well, Charlotte's also pretty liberal.
It has become,
city, right?
Yeah.
Was it back then when you went to school there?
It was a little bit it's definitely more liberal now. I was in school in the mid 90s and we were it was definitely a liberal campus, Presbyterian. So they didn't really care, it wasn't a huge religious thing or anything. But yeah, I think, I don't know, I guess there were some things that people didn't talk about or whatever. I don't know. I don't think I noticed it. I didn't notice any like dissension, towards gay people or people who are different. I mean, that's the whole point to go to school is to meet people who are different than you.
Yeah, university equals diversity.
Oh, who said that? Someone put that on a t-shirt quick. I was in a sorority after all. Can you imagine? Vice President Pledge Education.
I go away to school, and I'm there a few years, and I'm, of course, an English drama major. So I met a lot of gay people, and I'm like, okay, this is a thing. It's all right. They all seem okay. Everything's fine. And I'm like a junior, and I go home on break, and I'm in the kitchen with my mom, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'll dip a toe in. Let me test the waters. And I'm like, so, Mom, I know we really haven't ever talked about it before, but how do you feel about gay people? And she turns around smiling, and she's like, oh my God, I love gay people. They're fabulous. And my inner baby dyke was like, tell her now, do it right now, quick, do it now, here's the time, don't stop, just do it. And I was just so shocked and stunned. I couldn't believe that was what she said. And while I'm like trying to calm my baby dyke inside down, she follows that up with, it's okay to be gay, as long as you don't do gay things. And my inner baby dyke went, what? And my brain went, what? And they sort of had a conversation trying to process what my mom had just said. So I can be gay, and I can find the love of my life, but we can only talk? Which frankly is 80% of lesbianism, just to put it out there. Honestly. I was really more interested in the 20% that no one was talking about. And I was just like, I don't even know what to do with that information. And I just was like, and I was still very, I wasn't this, amazing extrovert that I used to be before. I was still very introverted. I really relied on my family a lot. And I was just like, well, I just don't. That was the moment that I was just like, I can't risk losing the love and security of my family over, maybe having personal happiness. What a crazy notion. And plus, I didn't want to ruin Thanksgiving, which is ironic because Thanksgiving is the time where you're like, hey, everybody, I'm gay, pass some mashed potatoes. So I just took all those feelings and I put them in a box for later, and I just shoved it to the back of the closet and just graduated, and my parents were proud of me and whatever. And then, unfortunately, a year after I graduated, my mom passed away, and then my dad passed away a few years later. And what do? Well, you move to New York and you go straight to therapy. And that's what I did. So, therapy twice a week for 3 years does miracles. You unpack all that baggage and you're like, look at all my shit.
We've known each other for a while.
Yeah,
do you want to talk about you being adopted?
Sure.
A little bit?
I was adopted from birth through Catholic Charities. I never knew my real parents. I have a few little snippets of information. My mom was 16. My dad was in college and crazily enough, a math major, and I suck at math. That stuff does not descend through the DNA at all. And she was sent away to have the baby. It's a Lifetime movie. They sent her down
south
like a
Lifetime
to
movie.
have the baby. And I went to foster care and was in foster care for a few months before I ended up with my parents. Again, I was named Cheryl. I don't know if that came from the foster parents or my birth mother, but there was a letter in my baby book that is from the foster family that says, baby Cheryl eats and sleeps really well. She's such a happy baby and laughs all the time. And I was like, yeah, but they named me Cheryl. Why was I laughing? And it's weird too, because I don't know if it's psychosomatic or whatever, but I have never liked a Cheryl in my life. Anyone in me who's named Cheryl, I'm like, oh no, not you. My parents adopted me, and I knew my whole life that I was adopted. It wasn't like a stigma or anything, or a skeleton that came out of a closet when you turned 16 or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think, especially after having so much therapy later in life, I realized that I think the adoption, it was in my brain as that the people that were supposed to love me and take care of me didn't want me. So I have huge abandonment issues.
Yeah.
Even now, even when my wife is like, she leaves in a huff, I'm like, oh God, is she going to come back? Oh no, she's left forever. Like it immediately triggers like that, like, oh no, I'm alone. So yeah, I think that's one of the big reasons why I didn't come out till much later, was because, God, if the ones that adopted me don't want me either, then that's 2 strikes. Where does baby Brandy go from there? Like,
wow.
It was very deep. It was a huge revelation in therapy for sure. There was a lot of crying and weeping and putting the dots together, but totally, it's a big part of my makeup as a person.
So you weren't aware of that. That's why you're putting the halt on fully coming out?
Yeah, totally. Like when she said that thing about, you can be gay, but you can't do gay things. I was like, hey, that's stupid, and the whole point is to touch each other? Like, why would you date anyone if you can't touch each other? And then it just didn't seem worth it. Like, I was like, I can't take the risk. Even though I was in college. I should have had more, bravery or I don't know, what's the word? I'm too insecure about my own self to like rock the boat. I was never one to get in trouble because, again, like, oh my God, what if they send me back? What if, I get expelled from school and then they send me back to wherever, the orphanage or whatever. Like, it was always sort of like this undercurrent in my life. And I know it's one of the biggest things that kept me in the closet for as long as it was, because I was just like, oh my God, I can't lose the people that love me the most. Like, it was too crushing.
Oh, wow. That's a lot for a kid to handle and a teenager.
I know, but not even like cognitively thinking about it. Like I didn't even realize that's what was happening when I was that age. It came out much later, like when I was in therapy and like really deep diving into my past and thinking, well, why didn't I say those things? And why didn't I go on dates? And why did I eat so much? Because there's this one story. I guess I was maybe 12 or 13 and I had put on a little weight one summer and my dad was like, Brandy, men don't like fat women.
What?
And I was like, oh, so if I gain weight, they'll leave me alone. So I really feel like I got fat because I just was like, I just keep them away, whatever. I mean, I just don't even deal with it because I knew that wasn't who I was. But even then, it was hard for me to connect all that together. Like, I ate to like push down being gay, and like, what else do you do when you play Atari and watch Scooby-Doo? Is eat potato chips and drink all the soda in the house. Like, it just was, this circle of like crazy.
So what we're saying here at Closet Case is how important therapy is.
Oh my God. If you even think for a second you might be gay, go to therapy right away. Oh, another t-shirt.
Well, it's so weird to think of you as an introvert as a kid.
I was, though. I was so introverted. Shawn, I didn't order food from a waiter until I went away to college.
Really?
Like, I literally would go to dinner with my folks and I would tell my mom what I wanted and she would order it for me because I couldn't deal with strangers.
That's insane. So for you listening, I mean, Brandy is a bubbly personality. Like, she is the life of the party, super fun, like super vivacious. And to imagine you as an introvert is just boggling my mind. When you said that, I was like, wait, what?
I know. I was definitely the Ali Sheedy of my breakfast club. Like, I was so like, had my go bag. I was kind of dirty or whatever, and like always had hair in my face hair in my face. And I wasn't this person. It really wasn't until like my junior year in high school, a boy asked me to prom. Now this boy I knew my whole life. We had like swim parties together in like middle school. And I think I might even still have the note he passed me in U.S. history class to ask me if I had enough time to get a dress to go to prom with him. But he was like really popular and was going to be like the president of the SGA next year. And I was like, okay, so I'll do this. So I went to prom with Joe and a few other people in a limo, and it was so pretty in peak moment, whatever. And and I just started like being funny in front of people and like trying to be a person and not such a mute hobbit. And it was a great night. It was great. The picture, of course, is horrible. I'll have to show it to you sometime. But literally, Joe's walking me to the door, and I'm like, okay, good night. I'm like going in the door, and I'm opening the door, and it's halfway open. The next thing I know, the door slams. My mother's on the other side trying to get me kissed on prom night.
What?
I'm not even lying. My mother closed the door hoping that Joe would kiss me goodnight.
Wow.
Bananas. I hadn't even thought about that until we started talking about prom. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm sorry, Joe. I'm going to go in now. And I pushed the door open and my mother got out of the way. And I'm just like, wow, what are you doing? What are you doing? She's like, well, how was it? Did you have fun? Did he kiss you? I was like, no, it's Joe. Like, no, like, we've known each other since 5th grade. Why would I kiss Joe? Like, ugh.
Have you ever been kissed by a boy before?
Yes. Spin the Bottle, Leslie Dalton, 5th grade. Do kids even play Spin the Bottle anymore?
I don't know.
I feel like they've just jumped right to Tinder where they're just hooking up left and right or whatever. Literally left and right. But yeah, we were playing Spin the Bottle and it landed on me and I kissed a boy. And I felt nothing. And I went home and my mom was asking me about the party. I'm like, oh, we played Spin the Bottle. She's like, oh, did you kiss him? I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, how was it? I'm like, it's all right, whatever. And then she tucked me in and went away. And I was in bed and I was like, wow, well, that was nothing. I don't even know why is everyone excited about this? And then I was like, well, what if I had kissed Mary O'Brien?
Ooh.
And all of a sudden, every particle in my body went, and I went, oh no, this is bad. This is real bad. I don't know what this is. What is this? Why do I want to make out with Mary O'Brien? It's so weird.
Well, I love that it seemed like prom is what brought you out of your shell. Is that, do you feel
That
like...
was the door that opened it because I came back my senior year and I joined every club, got involved in homecoming, wrote the homecoming skit, like lost my mind, joined yearbook and just was the manager of the boys football team, the girls, the manager. Gay, like gay, not on the team, but managing the team, like a little shirt that says, manager on it. I'm like running out water to the football players and they're so happy to see me and they're like, oh, we love you, thanks so much. And the cheerleaders start to talk to me and act like I'm a person, and I got really close with them, but then I managed the girls' varsity volleyball team and the girls' varsity soccer team, and we won state that year.
Oh, wow.
And I was just Little Miss Involvement.
That's amazing.
And then I was voted Miss School Spirit, just like Rosie O'Donnell. What? I beat 2 cheerleaders for Miss School Spirit. I was shocked at the award ceremony. Everyone lost their minds. Because I had completely turned into somebody else. Like, I was just like, I was popular. I don't know. I just was. It just happened.
That's awesome, though. I mean, it's a great story to go from an introverted girl to...
One of my greatest compliments ever was that my friend Claudia told me, like, almost towards the graduation, she was like, Brandy, you transcend the cliques. Like, everybody loves you. Like, you're friends with everybody. It doesn't matter. And I was just like, oh, I feel like I've really accomplished something in high school. Did John Hughes write this movie? Nobody knows.
It wasn't until 1999 that I said out loud to another person in Williamsburg. It was before the hipsters. We were like the first people that went over in Calistoga wagons and like laid the groundwork for all these. Where did we go? Where did we go? I'm standing there with my best friend Ronnie, and we're waiting for a bus. And I'm like, I love Shannon. And he's really not listening to me. He's like, oh yeah, I love Shannon too. She's great. We had a really good time at that party. And I went, no, Ronnie, I'm like in love with Shannon, like in love with Shannon, like Shannon. And he turned on me, like Dorothy turns on Rose after a long St. Olaf story. Oh my God, why? Why would you do that to yourself? I'm like, but you're gay. And he's like, yes, and I'm miserable. And he's just like, and plus women are awful. And I'm like, I know they're awful, but they smell so nice. And I'm so gay for it. So he gives me this giant hug. And I start slowly coming out to my friends. And it's the first time in my adult life that I thought, okay, I got this. This is going to be fun. Everything's going to be good. I got it. I'm going to be okay. It's going to be great.
Okay, first of all, I want to know, who is this Ronnie person?
Oh my gosh, Ronnie Karam, the light of my life, my first official gay boy. After I graduated from college, got an apprenticeship at the Jupiter Theater in Florida, which is the former Burt Reynolds Dinner Theater.
Oh,
and
Burt Reynolds.
I know, Burt Reynolds, Lonnie, what? And the whole thing was like you worked for a year for like bupkis. They like paid you $40 a week and then like fed you every day in the green room or whatever, and then also gave you a lovely condo by the beach. But you worked like a slave, like building sets and performing kid shows and being in the mainstay musicals and all this stuff. And I was a replacement stage manager Hello, stage manager. Oh, so gay. You can almost hear the carabiners, can't you? And I was so nervous because this class had been together since the beginning of the summer or the beginning of the year. And I came in halfway through. So I walked into the green room in the backstage of this theater, scared out of my brain. And I'm just kind of standing there in my blacks, like waiting for someone to like say hello or like tell me what to do. And all of a sudden I look over and there's this beautiful gay boy going, oh, you and I are going to be friends. Come here. And he just picked me up and just swooped me away. And we spent that year working our asses off and just getting really close and discovering Ab Fab together. That was the year Ab Fab came out. So dating myself with these references. How old is she? We've just
29.
We've been friends for over 20 years and I just love him. We had originally moved to Jackson Heights together after that year. Nice. Then he moved away to LA after like a year and a half, and I was heartbroken. Again, abandonment issues. I was like, why are you leaving me? I just can't do it by myself. And then he ended up coming back, and by that time we had moved to a loft in Williamsburg. He's just been in part of my life forever, and I just adore him. He's like the funniest guy I know, and he has very popular podcast himself called Watch What's Crappin's Live, which like makes fun of all the like housewives and stuff, and they like sell out Gramercy Theater and come to New York. And
I think I've seen that.
He's
podcast
like internet
before.
Famous. It's bananas.
That's incredible.
Yeah. He's super
well,
funny.
then the biggest question is, who is Shannon?
Oh my God. I can't talk about it. No, I actually can't talk about it. No, she was just a replacement roommate that lived with us in the loft. Oh. And of course, you're coming out and you're never supposed to fall in love with someone you live with. But she was so nice to me and she smelled so good. And she had been gay for like 10 years, but then went back to dick. And I thought, I can get her to come back. Nope, that didn't work out very well. But it was like classic. Like the first is the worst. You crash and burn and you say stupid things. And you know, now we're friends on Facebook. Everything's fine.
Well, who was your first kiss if it wasn't Shannon?
Oh, Lord. It was Lisa. Lisa from MySpace. Again, how old is she? She was really awesome, but we were too much alike. She was a little more butch than me, but it just didn't work out. The chemistry wasn't there. Like, she kind of hurt me with her face when she kissed me because it was too like, I'm the top. And I was like, ow, I'm a little top. I can be a little top. So yeah, it was a bad first kiss, but I got bad. I'm a great kisser, but that was really bad. So no, that didn't work out.
So Lisa was your jumping off point?
Yeah.
I guess you were like a fully realized adult before you had your first same-sex kiss.
Oh my God, yes. Are you kidding me?
That's great. When you were a kid, did you dream of having kisses?
Though, there was a moment during that year at Jupiter. I tried drugs for the first time. Kids don't do it at home. But eventually, but I had asthma, so I never really smoked pot before. I was always like so straight-laced, whatever. And a dancer friend of mine was like, oh, come on, I'll shotgun it. And I'll just give you you can just have a taste of pot or whatever. I was like, okay, so we did it, fine. And then we had this other friend, this hot blonde, Kristen, and she shotgunned me. So maybe that's kind of my first kiss. Because when her lips touched mine, I almost wet my pants. Like, it was like, I just lost my mind. I was like, oh, this is it. I don't know what it is. This is it. This is it.
And then how long was it from that moment to when you came out?
Oh, not too long. Maybe 5 years.
Not too long. Only 5 years.
Only five. Yeah, my parents had to die, and then I came out. Yeah.
Did you go to therapy first, and that's when you sort of discovered, or did you discover it on your own?
I knew I was gay. I just needed some help. I needed to like sort out my shit and figure out everything, like, you know, all of it. So a friend I worked with, when I worked at this theater company, he was like, my therapist is great. You know, why don't you go? And he works on a sliding scale and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. So I started going to him twice a week for 2 years. That's when you really do the good work, is when you're going twice a week. And it just started to, you know, I think he knew when I sat down. I think he could tell that I was all bunched up. And I was so like, she needs to get laid or she's going to explode. And he was a gay man as well. So, of course, we had a nice rapport. And eventually, I don't think it took very long for me to be like, I'm gay and I don't know what to do. I don't even know where to start. So, yeah, that's why it's important. You have to talk about your feelings.
About a month later, I decided, okay, I'm going to call my sister who lives in California, and I'm going to tell her the big news. So I call her, and we're catching up, and I'm like, listen, I've got something really important to tell you. And she goes, you gay? And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? How do you, I don't understand. And she's like, Brandy, let me start with this. You were Han Solo 3 Halloweens in a row. Let me start with this, is what she said. Let me start. Because then she proceeded to tell me a litany of stories. The next one, she's like, do you remember, like, you came home from college freshman year or whatever, and I asked you if you were dating anybody, and you were like, no, and she's like, well, she was like, are you a lesbian? And I got angry, like, fiercely angry. I was like, why would you ask me that? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you ask me if I'm a lesbian? And she's like, because you've never dated anyone anytime, never. Not in middle school, not in high school, not in college. What are you doing? I mean, what do you mean, what am I doing? I've got a huge course load. I'm very involved in my sorority. And the theater department has me stage managing 2 musicals this semester. I am overworked. When will I have time to date? And I don't really remember that conversation, but I do. Because in my mind, with my passion and my rage, I had convinced her that I wasn't gay. That was stupid. And then I had, like, forgotten about it because I thought, no, she totally bought that bullshit. She totally doesn't think I'm gay. But that was wrong. But the topper, and I promise this is the best thing ever, and also the biggest mind, whatever. She was just like, do you remember Family Girl Night? And I was like, what do you mean, Family Girl? You know, Aunt Linda and Aunt Dora and Cousin Michelle and Mom and me and you, we'd get a pizza, and then Mom would rent a Chippendales video. She's like, we staged those nights to see if you like dick. They conspired against me. And ascertain the information, so just be like, do you like dick? Like, no. So we had this stage this huge thing. And she's like, and we knew immediately because anytime they ripped their pants off, you would just get up and get more pizza. So I literally flashed back. I'm like, oh, everybody's getting the pizza. And then to think that they're all in the den going, oh, she's gay. She's gay. She's definitely a dyke. Oh my God, pussy all the way. But that my grandmother was in on it. Damn it.
So I love how when your siblings actually know and they're not afraid to tell you, but did that take the wind out of your sails when you came out to your sister?
Oh my God, totally. I was so pissed. I thought I had everyone fooled my whole life. I thought I was the Meryl Streep of most people that are in the closet. Oh no, I'm the French Lieutenant Tard. I'm in the closet. Like, how would they know? We never talked about, I never dated anyone. Why would they even question me? Like, I was completely like, what are you talking about? And when I told her on the phone, and she was so like, if you tell me you're gay, we already knew. We all knew. Mom, Dad, Grandma, Uncle Johnny, Uncle Mike, and like the litany of everyone. And like I said in my set, it was like I went to Peanuts Land. It was just like that. Because I was like falling because I was like, oh my God, what do you mean they all knew? And then it's sort of like, well, why didn't anybody say anything or do anything or whatever? And she's like, they weren't going to give you permission to come out. They were Catholic and Republican. They weren't going to be like, yeah, come on out of the closet. The water's fine. Gay it up on Thanksgiving. So yeah, it was a huge revelation, and it did take some wind out of my sails. And then it also filled me with regret because I was like, how stupid was I? Like, how completely unaware, thinking I was in control of it all, and I was, impervious to anyone's, looky-loo or, intonations. And she clocked it. She just like, and it made me instantly wanted to go back 20 years and be like, I'm I'm gay.
Right.
You know?
Especially when your whole family's conspiring against you.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Chippendales videos.
I know. That was such an awkward period. I just never understood it because we were so Catholic. I was like, why is this okay? They're like taking off their clothes. We're not supposed to have lust in our heart. Like, what?
Were you self-aware enough at that point to know that you're I don't like any of this. I might be into women. Oh, yeah. You knew already then.
I did. I wasn't attracted to it. Like, but I do know this. Whenever there was like female nudity in a movie, I immediately looked down. Like it was almost like I'm not allowed to look at that. I'm not allowed to like. No, it made me really uncomfortable, like super uncomfortable. And but you know, boys were just like, I mean, their bodies are good to look at or whatever. But it was never like, oh, I want some of that. Like, seriously, like, oh, really? No.
Especially all those mullets from those Chippendales dancers.
Oh my God,
come on.
forget about Roadhouse. Oh, please, I can't.
Now, is your sister, is she adopted as well?
Yes. And we're not related. She's adopted from a separate family.
Is she older or younger?
Younger, yeah. 3 years younger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she lives in L.A.
And are you guys close now?
She lives in L.A. No, actually, that's the thing, is like when we were little kids, we were close. Then I hit puberty and pushed her away. Because I knew I was different, and I was like, I just didn't know what to do. And then she hit puberty and climbed out the window and pulling boys in her room. And my parents were like, what is happening? They never had to go through that with me. They're like, Brandy's an angel. This, Laura will be a breeze. And they were just like totally flabbergasted about how wild she was and whatever. And I was just like, nope, I'm not doing that. Not me. And then so we drifted apart. And then when Mom got sick, we kind of came back together. And after we lost Dad, we were together. And then we sort of drifted apart again. And then just recently So I've sorted some stuff out and have been talking and texting a lot and like almost every day. So it's good. It's been a tenuous relationship, but I'm really happy in the direction it's going in now. Because she's a really great person. We're just very different people.
Is she in the industry as well, or?
No, she's a therapist. Of course she is. She clocked me at 12. Why wouldn't she be a therapist?
I love that this is our theme of the podcast. It's all therapy.
Well, you had to have one nut in a bunch. You know what I'm saying?
She said she truly wasn't convinced, though, until she asked me, she's like, do you remember your favorite movie growing up? And she's like, not Star Wars, your other favorite movie. And I was like, oh, you mean the pirate movie? The cinematic, cheeky retelling of Gilbert and Sullivan's The Pirates of Penzance? Because we saw that movie like 10 times, and every time Christy McNichol was singing Walking Down the Beach wearing this white gauzy dress, you held your breath for 3 minutes. For those of you not familiar with the pirate movie, I will tell you this. It is on YouTube and you can watch the whole thing for free. And I highly recommend it. I think you should get high as fuck and then sing along. It's fantastic. I mean, it's absurd. It's ridiculous. The numbers in this movie are stupid. And these are 3 of my favorites. How can I live without her? Clearly, lesbian. Hi, yes. Pumpin' and blowin', which kind of sounds like what the guys do, but still one of my favorites. And come friends who plow the sea. Fantastic. I can't even. Too much. So silly. And we're laughing and we end this call in hysterics and it just is like one of those moments where you're like, well, shit, if I had just been braver. And ultimately she's like, well, Mom and Dad weren't going to pull you kicking and screaming out of the closet. Like, they just were waiting for you to be brave enough to say, this is who I am, this is what makes me happy, please be happy for me. And I look back and I wish I had done it sooner. So my advice to you is do it now. Say the things you need to say, do the things you need to do. Embrace your happiness. Get your happy ending, because I got mine. my wedding in a dive bar and got married by a drag queen, so. And I want to close by saying, Mom, I'm really sorry, but we do all the gay things.
Love when you say, Mom, we do all the gay things. Do you?
I know, right?
Do you feel like the spirit of your mom was at your wedding with you?
I do. I think so, yeah. Because my wife also lost her mom at the same age, too. So our first date was 6 hours, and we immediately bonded over that. And it was just sort of like, even in that first date, I know it's super lesbian, but I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. This might be it. I might have found the other part of me. And so, yeah, I do. I felt like that they were there, definitely.
If your mom was here today, do you think she would have totally participated in the wedding? Do you think your coming out to her would have been easier?
I think she would have been the one that would have been fine sooner. I think my dad might have been a little sluggish, but then would have jumped on board. I really do think they loved me, and I know that. And it was really upsetting that they couldn't be at my wedding. And again, you woulda, shoulda, coulda. Like if I had, maybe it would have happened early, whatever. But it happened the way it happened. But I do know that they would have had a blast. They would have had a blast in meeting all my friends and knowing how happy I was in New York and being a part of that. I mean, we got married by a drag queen, for God's sakes. They would have loved that. They would have understood it very well, but they would have been like, oh my God, wow.
Well, your wedding was fabulous. It was so much
good,
fun.
Right?
It was a great party. I think everyone had a blast. I liked it at the end of your set. You talk about wishing you could have done things sooner. Now, looking back in hindsight, when do you think you would have wanted to come out of the closet?
I would have liked to have come out when I graduated from college. I think that would have been a pretty good time to start that process and because then I would have moved away to New York and we would have had some distance, but then we would also have been in contact with each other. I feel like when you go away to university, you change. You become more of who you're supposed to be because you are a little bit freer and yet you're still tethered to your family. I'm so happy that I got my happy ending in the end. I just wish they could have been a part of some of that happiness. I feel like don't wait. If you're struggling with coming out, if you feel like, you're going to lose everything like I did, it really is worth the risk because I think I would have become a more well-rounded person and myself faster. There's a 10-year gap between, actually becoming the gay woman that I am and how long it took from I can be this person in college, and then it took 10 years for me to actually make it happen. And by that time it was too late and I lost out on some really good stuff.
Yeah, but now your life's great. You have Laura Beth, amazing wife, amazing friends.
It's the best.
It's so much fun.
I'm the luckiest orphan in the world.
Aww.
Little orphan Brandy couldn't be happier.
Well, Brandy, thank you so much for doing the podcast.
No, thank you. This is awesome.
You are phenomenal.
You're phenomenal.
You start.
No, you are.
But I want to say, guess what the 3 things we learned from Brandy is?
Oh, God, what?
We've learned that college university equals diversity. I feel like you've coined so many T-shirts during this podcast.
I made so many T-shirts in college. I was in a sorority. What are you talking about? It was T-shirts and stage managing. And come on, if it's good enough to say out loud, it's good enough to put on a T-shirt.
Amen to that. And number 2, sometimes pizza is way more interesting than dick.
It really is, especially if it's the right toppings and it's heated to the right temperature. It's more filling than dick.
Exactly. Amen. I will agree with that. And then also that, Pirates of Penzance is gay as fuck.
Oh my God, it's so gay.
Wait, is Kristen McNichol your cheat for your wife? You get
No, she fell off the list a few years ago, I think. Yeah. No, but she went in the early on. She was yeah, because she was kind of sporty but still femme, and she could sing and walk on the beach with longing looks in her eyes. That movie, the pirate movie, is the campiest piece of filth. And if you want to watch it, it's free on YouTube, and you'll get obsessed with the songs because you can't believe they're singing about pumping and blowing. You just don't even understand. And I was obsessed with it. I saw it 10 times in the theater.
Well, that's amazing.
I know, stupid.
Well, Brandy, you've been amazing. And thank you all for listening to Closet Cases. So make sure you subscribe on iTunes, on Google Play Music, and also on Spotify. And don't forget to follow us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter at Closet Cases or on Facebook and Instagram at Closet Cases Show. And I'm Shawn Hollenbach. You guys have been amazing. Brandy, as always, so great.
Thank you, Shawnee. Yay, Closet Cases! Yay!
And as we know, It was dramatic then, but isn't it hilarious now?
So hilarious.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Bye.